Alright guys, today I'm bringing you a legendary item guide in Borderlands 3, and in this video we'll be looking at the Jacob's pistol known as the Wagon wheel. The red text of the weapon reads, keep them doggies rolling. And what's special about this weapon is when you hit a critical hit, it will ricochet 6 bullets. Now this is abnormal because it usually ricochets 1 or 2, and the highest I think I've seen other than this is 3, but this one does double that and it does 6. To get this weapon there are actually 2 ways you can go around getting it. The first one, which I'll gloss over quickly, is by using lutograms. Now I'll have a video that explains lutograms a bit more in the description, as well as a farm for PC users, and console users can also do it, but it takes a bit longer and the steps are slightly different, which I unfortunately don't know how to do. But I am actually working on a video that allows console users to take advantage of a lutogram farm in order to farm these lutogram weapons much easier. But the other and easier method, especially for console, is just farming Warden, who can be found on the anvil on Eden 6. The Warden is the story boss at the end of the anvil, which you encounter and defeat just before you first encounter Hammerlock in the story. So you just want to walk through the entirety of the anvil, and then just before you drop down into the arena, you'll probably hit it as you pass it anyway, but you want to hit this spawn point, and then from this spawn point you could just drop down every save and quit and defeat Warden, and then there's your chance to get in the wagon wheel. Now this gun, especially on Mayhem 3, is very disappointing. There's quite a few factors that go into this. Firstly, the damage seems slightly lower than other Jacob's pistols just because it ricochets 6 bullets when you hit a critical hit. It also comes with a very low magazine size, so you can only get 4 shots out per magazine, and especially when you're hitting those critical hits, it's not too bad. But the fact of the matter is the ricocheted bullets probably won't hit the enemy that you're shooting at and getting the critical hits on. They'd either collide with the surface or an enemy or stop ricocheting before they'd be able to reach the enemy that you're shooting at. So especially when the enemy that you're shooting at is a badass and you're getting critical hits on that badass, it could take forever to kill badasses just because the damage is so low. The ricochet bullets are okay for any enemies around it. They'll find their way to an enemy and deal damage, especially if you're on flak. You've got that chance to hit critical hits no matter what. But it is just that if it is a badasses take forever to kill with this weapon. It's definitely a good weapon to fire at badasses, just because generally badasses are either slow moving or big critical hit spots, so it's easy to get those ricocheted bullets off of them. But in that respect, you'll also take forever to kill that enemy, so you'll probably still be shooting it long after all the enemies around him are dead. Other than that, in regards to smaller enemies, the damage is pretty good. You could probably kill a smaller enemy in a clip or 2. Some of the very smaller enemies will take a clip, especially if they're non-shielded, but some enemies like All-Stars obviously take a few more just because they're like maniacs with a bit more health. I will say, especially on human enemies like the COV, it's extremely difficult to get critical hits on them unless it's something like a partisan or a badass militant who is slow moving but has an easy to hit crit spot. Anything else like psychos or badass zealots, especially just because they're such a skinny character, anything else, tanks, you name it, it can be really difficult to get those critical hits. So the effectiveness of this weapon just sort of dips just because the whole point of the effect is to get those critical hits. For that reason, I definitely say it's a gun for flak. Like most guns that require you to get a critical hit in order to get its effectiveness out of it, flak is probably the way to go with fadeaway. It's just a lot easier if you just go into fadeaway and then just shoot at the body or anywhere. You can get those critical hits and get those ricocheted bullets very easily. Aside from all that, obviously with it being a Jacob's weapon, the fire rate is really good. Reload speed is really good. Most of the reload speed I find average seems to be between 2 and 3, and this one rocks up a 1.5. You'll be able to reload this gun very quickly in between magazines, so it sort of makes up for that low magazine of 4. But other than that, that's it for the video, guys. I hope you found this useful. Make sure to subscribe for future legendary item guides on my channel, and yeah, see you in the next video.